My PC tower is actually really loud, so this microphone will probably pick it up. If that happens, I apologize. Millennial pause. No, sorry. I don't know why I said sorry. Hello, my name is Sarah. I am 31. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I am lost. If that's the truth, then yes. Probably just gonna sit here and talk about a few things. Just wanted to sort of feel a bit natural because this is really different for me. 31 might not seem very old, and it kind of isn't very old, but I am nowhere near where I was. I was in a completely different life situation for the last several years. I am now in a completely different life situation that isn't very fulfilling. There's a lot of struggles, and I just sort of want to talk about it. Yeah. Just a little bit of a background on me. I used to be a practicing solicitor or lawyer in New South Wales. I had a very strong and ambitious legal career that I worked really hard for. I was in the legal industry for 10 years or 11 years, and I achieved a lot. I fell into the industry just by random, and then I decided to study my law degree at age 24. So because I was 24 and a lot of the lawyers at the time that I was working with, they were probably around my age anyway. So they were already practicing lawyers and I was just starting out. So I thought, okay, well, I need to hurry up and I need to get this done. So in Australia, you can just do your Bachelor of Laws, so just a law degree, and then basically you do like a little course after it, and then you become a lawyer. So I know in America it's a little bit different. I'm unsure about the UK, but in Australia, I started my law degree in 2017, and by mid 2020, I was admitted as a practicing solicitor in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. So it was a very, very big achievement for me. I am the only person of my family who has been to university, and I think that that includes like aunties and cousins and that as well, so like extended family. Starting at the age of 24, I basically did my law degree in 3 years. It is a 4-year course if you do it full time, but I did it in 3 years by having a full semester or a full roster of as many units as I could every summer program. So basically, I did 4 units every semester, and then when everyone else is on holidays over summer, I would do minimum 2 or 3 units. I think one summer I even did 4. So, and then in my last semester of law school, I had 5 units left. So I wrote to the school, to the university, and I just explained my situation because the 1 unit that was extra, because you can only do 4, I would have had to wait another 6 to 9 months to begin. So I explained my situation to the university, and I reassured them that I had obviously achieved a lot during my studies so far. I was more than capable. I was doing well with my grades as well, and I wanted to take on the 5 units. So the university, it had to go to some higher up because it was more of a welfare issue. That was all good. That was signed, and I undertook that. So yeah, I completed my law degree. And then I did the practical legal training course straight after. Also, it was actually, I commenced it while I was still technically doing my law degree, which was, you can sort of do. So I did that, and then I think it was 4 or 5 months later, I was admitted, which was really good. So at that time as well, while studying full-time and doing extra and not taking a break for 3.5 years, I was also working full-time, and I had changed jobs twice, well, 3 times. It was one law firm, went to a different one, and then went back to the first one. So I changed jobs sort of 3 times, or 2 or 3 times in that time that I was studying with a long-term partner at that time, and we had bought a house as well. And there was also the passing of my granddad at that time as well. So it was a very busy 3.5 years, I would say. I achieved so much. I achieved so much, and I'm very, very proud of myself for what I had achieved and what I did do, because I know that I can do that if I ever want to. So 2020, I became a solicitor. That was obviously the year of COVID, and it was, yeah, it mucked up a lot of plans, COVID did, but that was fine. I was still working, so I was very, very thankful for that. I was healthy and everything was great. And then the next 2 years, I was working as a solicitor, practicing as a solicitor, and I noticed my motivation and my passion and my drive to practice law and basically better what I had been working on for several years, and achieve more, and I guess climb the corporate ladder and break the glass ceiling and all that sort of stuff, that was dwindling. I became very upset. I became very unmotivated. I became quite, there was dust. I became quite, I just felt like I was in a rut and I was very stuck. So it was a weird feeling to have been working so hard for something for so long, and then realizing after you had been doing that for a couple of years, what you achieved for a couple of years, realizing that it wasn't what you want now. It's what I wanted when I started and while I was studying, but it's not what I want now, like at that time. I felt confused. I felt very confused. I felt very, I felt like a failure, I think. I think the idea of failing was very prevalent at that time, just because I had been the only one who had achieved that milestone in my family, and it was a huge achievement, and everyone looked at me like I'm, very smart, or she's a lawyer, she's this. And I remember I would tell new people that I would meet, like, hey, or I wouldn't tell them outright, but they would ask me, they would ask, like, oh, what do you do for work? Or I do this, whatever, if you're meeting a new person. And the feeling of being like, oh, I'm just a lawyer, and them being extremely shocked or really impressed, I liked that feeling. I'm not going to lie, that was a good feeling. But I can't do that anymore. So yeah, it was definitely a decision that took me some time. I think it took me about a year while working as a solicitor to realize that this is not what I wanted. During those 2 years as practicing as a solicitor as well, my long-term relationship at that time started to deteriorate, and we split. And then that also involved selling our first home that we bought together. So now, after about 2 years since that had happened, I am extremely lost. I have taken the last 2 years to figure out what I want to do. I've always been drawn to more creative endeavors, whether that's, making little models or drawing and painting and designing things and coloring in and just anything creative in that sense where I can use my hands, and I really like doing little things with my hands and making craft and stuff. So I did start freelancing as a graphic designer while just working different contract roles. I didn't want to allow myself to completely backtrack and not use my law degree. It was difficult finding a job that wasn't a solicitor role when you have solicitor on your resume. So I had quite a few eye-opening experiences where I had a bunch of recruiters. I remember one of them basically thought I was joking and that I had applied for their job as a joke because I was a lawyer and their job wasn't being a lawyer, obviously. So they thought that I was just kidding when I applied. So it was really disheartening. But anyway, I found a few contract roles and I had been doing them over the last 2 years. I need to remember that while I am feeling extremely nervous about where I am in life, I am also very fortunate that I have this chance to just sort of slow down. And I think that's what I've been lacking. I've realized probably for the past couple of years I have been suffering from burnout to the point where it has become a medical issue. So that's a whole other thing, but I do suffer from anxiety pretty bad, and it has become a lot worse over the past year or two or year and a half. I have always had anxieties for the last, I'd say 10, 11 years, maybe 11 years. Maybe it was 2012. I remember my first distinct feeling of a panic attack or an anxiety attack or a weird feeling. It was in 2012, the end of 2012, so almost 12 years. But it's just been self-managed. But I think with everything that I have been through the past four or so years, my body was like, no, we need to focus on our health. We need to focus on what's going on up here, and we need to focus on live in a sustainable way for me every day so that I can have some sort of productiveness, or I can have some sort of sense of quality of life. So I think the content that I'll probably show is I'll talk about a few of the crafts that I do or the few of the hobbies that I'm doing. I'll give you an update on a few things as I go along. I do want to talk about, I think, maybe some books I'm reading or a book that I'm reading, and then books that I want to read, and just sort of give you updates on how I am managing my anxiety. Some deeper, meaningful talks about the steps backwards that just inevitably come while you're trying to heal and while you're trying to figure out where you want to be in life, because I have definitely felt like I made significant progress last year, and this year I feel like I have moved back like 20 steps. So I'm just sort of trying to find my feet again and go from there and try to figure out now who I am, because last year my sense of self was definitely still there, but this year is it an identity? Is it? Is it an identity crisis I'm going through? It might be that. I don't want to self-diagnose myself. Maybe I should ask my psychologist. I don't know. Maybe it is an identity crisis. Oops. Yeah. I guess I'm hoping for this channel to become a little slice of me finding myself, hoping to, find inspiration from others who have sort of been in the same situation or find themselves a little bit confused with where they are at life, especially when they had it all planned out before and then it's imploded. Thank you for, I guess, tuning in. I hope to see you again on the next video. Hopefully I can bring some more coherence to the next video. I think there's always going to be a little bit of hesitation when you're opening yourself up on the internet, but I am an internet baby. Well, I'm a 90s kid, so I grew up without the internet, and then my teens was very much on the internet. So I know both lives. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for clicking on my channel. I don't know how to say goodbye, so I will just say ciao. Well, I probably won't say ciao because I'm not Italian and I don't want to. I'll just say goodbye. Okay. And I keep staring at myself instead of the camera, and I need to stare at you. You. There's something floating around over here. That's interesting.